Thanks for joining us. Matty makes his return. Your pick tonight too.
A classic.
A classic from 1981, An American Werewolf in London. Before we get to any of that though, Matty, what have you been watching?
Well, after our last pod together, I went back and I watched the 4 Indiana Joneses that to finish off that series. Hadn't seen a couple of those in a very long time. And yeah, pretty good. It was worth a look. I think it's
How did Crystal Skull sit for you though?
It's a bit of a turd sandwich. It just didn't flow. I don't know, I wasn't invested at all. The accents were horrible.
Oh, God,
that's all. I wasn't into it.
I remember thinking, fucking hell, you've won a couple of Oscars. Clearly someone said, here's a big wad of cash.
It's got a couple of good moments, but you were right. It just goes for about 40 minutes too long.
Yeah.
Just unnecessary. Yep. You can just make them.
And I think when they nuke the fridge, I think you're already on the back foot.
Yeah.
You know, they've already sort of fucked it up somewhat, and then everything's kind of on the back foot with it.
Yeah, did enjoy that one, but that's what it is. Space Jam with the little fella again for the 18th.
Original or?
The original. He is obsessed with Michael Jordan. So it's everything Jordan. So that's actually not bad. I
don't mind Space Jam.
I don't mind it.
I never saw the sequel. Anyone?
Oh, look, the LeBron one, it just gets a little bit meta. It's like
it's done with some Bill Murray.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, the problem is it's not funny at all.
Which is sad because LeBron actually has a reasonably handy comedic sort of presence.
Yeah, that's right. What's the one with the comedian?
Trainwreck.
Yeah, Trainwreck.
Yeah, he's really good in that.
I also watched the Three Stooges, the 2012 movie.
Oh, right, okay.
Which again, the little fella was like, I don't want to watch this, and now it's in his top 3 movies of all time.
No, of course. Is that any good?
It's Larry David as a nun is hilarious. It's really, really good. Yeah. The rest of the movie is a bit blah, but it's like, I don't think you're expecting that much when you go in to see it.
No.
But Larry David, he's just screaming his head off it. He's great. And then the last one I watched is Wolf Like Me, which is on Stan. It's a 6-part thing with Isla Fisher and Josh Gad. Yeah, which I feel keep going with the werewolf theme. And
how was it?
Yeah, it's not bad. It's really just it's an emotional comedy drama, but it's the werewolf aspect of it's very small, but it like adds an extra element to it. So,
okay.
Yeah, it's entertaining though. I really enjoyed it. I watched that one with the wife and it was pretty good.
Good. All right. I had very little. I watched 2 of the new Untold documentaries on Netflix, the sports docos. I watched the Johnny Football one about Johnny Manziel, and I watched the one called Hall of Shame, which is about the Balco drugs in sports scandal. Johnny Football was interesting because initially he seems like a bit of a dill. Like it's kind of like this guy's a bit of a fuckwit, you know, and him and his buddies, they're a bit fuckwits. But it's sort of the more it went along, the more I was kind of like, I kind of get where he's coming from. He didn't love it.
Yeah.
He just did not love the game. He said it openly. I was a frat boy, basically. But when I went on the field, it just came to me. But I played like by the seat of my pants. I didn't read playbooks. I didn't watch film. I just went out there and I did it. And I was really good at it at the college level. When it came to the NFL, clearly you can't do that.
Yeah.
You have to go and
he's in and out.
Do that. And so his career sort of flamed out. And look,
then there's the argument of you can be the dumb frat boy, or when there's millions of dollars you could work for 10 years and your family's set for generations.
And I think do
you read the playbook?
Yeah.
Why never flick through it?
I would. But in his defence, he was kind of like, well, once I got to the NFL, you know, even then, you know, things were beginning to. I wasn't enjoying it anyway.
Yeah.
And then I was put in a system where they're trying to tell you what to do, and that didn't sit for me. Like, it just didn't work for me. And he freely admitted, he had fucking drug and alcohol problems.
Yeah,
so
I think that's
when you add all that to the mix, it's just not working.
Exactly.
The poor bloke. He didn't get picked up by another team and then tried to commit suicide. Like
It's by the end of it, you don't want story. that to look at sport that way.
Yeah.
that you want to kill yourself because, I mean, he was copping fucking shit left and right.
Yeah.
I mean, this is what I say. He could be the biggest dickhead in the world, and I actually didn't find him to be that big a dickhead. The more it went along, I was kind of like, man, he kind of seems like the kind of guy you'd have a bit of a laugh and a beer with.
Yeah.
But to cop that much shit, like, just for playing sport or not being that interested in it, like, it's fucking ridiculous. Think about it.
Well, we talked about this with, like,
behind
the NBA draft, right? Like, the amount of pressure that's being put on guys who just happen to have been picked high.
Yeah.
And somebody else has said, this guy's got this oozing talent. And so, automatically, next thing that comes along is people say, oh, well, if this guy doesn't win fucking 5 championships, he's going to be a failure. It's like, imagine that type of pressure. If you win 1 fucking championship, you have just...
I know.
You know, you've done something no one can ever take away from you.
I mean...
Basically, like...
I think we talked about this in one of the last episodes, but they're making that comment about Victor and saying if he doesn't win 5 championships, they're comparing him to arguably the fucking greatest power forward who's ever played. So his chances of being at that level are fucking slim.
The comment we were talking about was if he doesn't reach Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's
That's right.
level, he's a failure. It's
What
like,
the fuck are we
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar
talking
won fucking
about?
6 MVPs and 5 championships.
What
and
are you
he's considered
talking about?
one of the greatest players to ever walk the earth. If that is your starting part, I mean, fuck.
What's like, a skyhook like?
Yeah, exactly. I'm not giving you any room.
Yeah, you're not giving him any room.
And so, in a way...
And it comes... I mean, that motherfucker played 2 preseason games, and after the first one, people were calling him a bust. It's like, are you serious? The guy's barely fucking touched an NBA court.
Well, we know your legacy's made in the preseason.
Of course, exactly. Of course. I mean, Tim Duncan getting towed up by Greg Ostertag is what everyone remembers about his career.
That's right, yeah, that's right. Everyone's forgotten about that now that he's won fucking 5 titles. But I guess the way I looked at it was interesting because I sort of went into the doco thinking I'm going to hate this bloke. Like, everything I've heard about him, like, it's going to sort of grate on me because I think what a waste of talent. But the more I looked at it, the more I just thought, well, he has every right to fucking not enjoy the game.
So it was a bit of both. You think?
Yeah, you start off kind of not like him because I feel like, you know, he's a guy who probably acted like a bit of a tool.
Well, him describing himself, just saying I'm just a frat boy, is kind of
that's
like,
well, that's
so
right.
might be a bit of a dickhead.
Yeah, that's right. But
you're right. It's
the more I got into it, the more I think to myself, well, he has every right to fucking not enjoy it. Yeah. And he also has every right to say, well, fuck.
Yeah. And the majority of the people criticising and fucking, you know, we've spoken about fans that live and die by this shit. The majority of people that are going to do that and fucking get on the internet and call you all sorts of names, they haven't fucking made the NFL. You've done something that they
a handful,
haven't done.
Like a small percentage of people get to do, right? Yes, he threw it away, right?
Yeah.
He did. If he'd have fucking ducked his head down and played and pushed and tried to get better, maybe he'd had a 10-year career.
You can still be a backup quarterback.
Last 5 years, get yourself some dollars and get out of there.
You can be a backup quarterback and make $5 million a year.
Yeah.
And I would suggest that maybe part of him looking back is sort of thinking, well, fuck, if I'd have just been a little bit more savvy, you know, the career, I could have had a little bit of nest egg.
Yeah.
But in saying that too, you know, I mean, I also look at someone like Nick Kyrgios, for instance, right? The guy's got fucking loads of talent, oodles of talent. And more recently, I feel like he might have turned such of a corner that you know, he is actually finding a bit of that fire to go for to aim for the top.
Yeah.
But you know what? He's fucking, once again, he's got every right to say, I don't love the game. I'm good at
tell
it.
anyone who'll listen that if
really
it was up
good
to
at
him,
it,
he'd play basketball because he loves basketball, but he doesn't love tennis as much.
And I feel like we shouldn't fucking shit on people for that.
I don't think that's the main reason he gets shat on.
No, it's not. But what I'm saying is people have always they're always pointing fingers at these athletes in the media.
I think it's good that we've hit a place that someone can say, this is my job.
Yeah.
I mean, fucking Jokic. talking about how, they're talking to him about winning the NBA title and that shit. And he's got, I got to get back to Serbia and race some horses. He's like, this is just a job. I've got other shit to do.
Yeah, I know.
It's the least invested finals MVP I've ever seen.
Yeah, but maybe that's why he's so good. Because
partly it is,
his
because
compartmentalisation is the pressure is not applied to him because he doesn't take it like that.
His talent is next level.
I've got a job to do. This is the job I've got to do. Yeah. And if it fucking doesn't come up, so be it.
Well, I think there's an element of that. I think there's an element of that. I think he did pretty well in the horses too. He won fucking 6 out of 8 races.
So the guy,
but I think there's an element of that where you don't feel the pressure as much in yourself because you're like, this is just. I mean, fucking win or lose, I still have to fucking get up tomorrow and do the same. Go feed the fucking horses.
And maybe it's more of also I don't hang my hat on this shit.
Yeah.
Well, no, if he doesn't. If he's not invested, if he comes in weighing 400 pounds next season.
Imagine being not 100% invested in being a fucking champion, MVP, 2-time MVP, finals MVP, and you're just thinking, I just got to get on me fucking, I just got to race some horses.
You know what though? Jokic can now do nothing for the rest of his fucking career.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's still going to be considered awesome. He's going to sit. There's a legendary status to him because he's brought a fucking title to Denver.
Yeah.
That they have not had.
Yeah.
So fuck this cunt. He can just say, well, fuck.
Do whatever he wants.
I can retire now.
Still not one of those. Still not. Top 5 in the MVP according to Mark Jackson. But anyway,
that bloke got paid accordingly this season.
Yeah. You're fired. Thanks for your analysis, Mark.
Oh fuck, Mark. What do you want?
He's in 2-time MVP. Arguably had a better season and definitely had a better postseason. But he's not top 5 MVP.
More triple doubles than any player ever or something.
I love how he came out and started saying that was a mistake, and then all these other reporters were like. No, you can't fucking make that sort of mistake. There's checks and balances. You got drop downs. You got the "Are you sure's" after you. Come on, Mark.
And the other one, Hall of Shame, was interesting because it was about Balco, and it is very much skewed in Victor Conti's. He's the main talker on it, and there's no Marion Jones, there's no Barry Bonds, there's none of these. Because you know what? They never took anything.
No, of course not.
Barry Bonds went from 210 pounds to 228 in a fucking year.
Natural.
And he was like 34.
Yeah.
I was saying, this guy's on the downslides and suddenly bang, he's fucking hitting. And I didn't take anything. You... Barry.
Yeah. Spend on some natural oils.
Just fucking say nothing.
Yeah.
And just don't talk about it.
Yeah.
But Tim Montgomery was in it, the sprinter. And his angle, I felt, was the more interesting one. Where he was basically saying when they approached him with it, this whole supplement regime, which included human growth hormone and all that shit, as well as this stuff called the Clear. That was what Conti was running, which I think was kind of like EPO.
Yep.
And he said, it just... all you could think about was being the fastest man in the world. So you just fucking... You put all that aside.
Yeah.
You don't think about what the outcome might be.
Because imagine being that close and not thinking you had enough. You can understand how it happens.
And, he freely admitted, I fucked it up. I fucked up. I shouldn't have done it. But you're blindsided because... You're blinded by the fact that you can become the greatest. And unfortunately, Tim, you didn't really become...
No.
Yeah, you broke the world record, but you didn't become the greatest. There's a difference between breaking the world record and being the greatest.
Yeah. Well, there was a period there, and I think he was in it, where it seemed like you'd have the world record for 2 days, and then some motherfucker would fucking whip a tenth of a second off.
Yeah, I know. Fucking... I mean, that bullshit that Ben Johnson ran... that shit was getting wiped. Left and right. Or did only Bolt get to that? I can't remember now. Because once he was talking about human growth hormone, that guy was on some shit.
Ben Johnson. Yeah. He was on everything.
But every man
everyone in the race was. All of them got done for drugs except Carl Lewis.
Smith. No, Carl Lewis got done.
No, Carl Lewis never officially got done.
Yeah, I know, but he did get done.
He did get done.
We
yeah.
know that, but he's one of the group. There's only two that never got. It was never sort of raised.
Yeah.
One of them was Calvin Smith, who came third.
Yeah.
So
Carl did it.
He must be loving himself because he's sitting there. He's like He's like bloody. No, well, he's like
Give me the goal.
Ice skater.
Who's the Aussie fella who won the Tour de France?
Evans.
Cadell Evans. He's the Cadell Evans. He fucking wins that shit clean while all these other pricks are fucking riding around with stuff shoved in their ass.
I
believe the story was
around him.
Carl Lewis got done in a US team test.
They showed it in that documentary.
Sweep it under the rug.
Bigger, faster, stronger.
Yeah.
The guy had a letter.
Lesson, Carl. If you were taking drugs, stop fucking talking about anti-drugs every chance you get.
Yes.
Just say no comment.
Yeah. Mate, Ben was on something.
Yeah.
Don't
what about you, Carl?
Yeah.
Interview's finished.
Carl, it's a fucking 100-metre sprint, mate. Every cunt's on it. Okay? Let's not. Ben was just on the heavy shit.
Yeah.
Like, Ben had a third leg, like a fourth leg. He had he was so big.
Yeah, he was massive.
Like, he looked like a weightlifter.
He was stocky, yeah.
See,
but Carl was obviously, Carl definitely wasn't taking performance enhancers for his voice. We know that.
No, he's acting. Remember when Michael Johnson and fucking Daley Thompson and all that tore him apart on when they were on the coverage for the Olympics?
Yeah.
Piss funny. But Bolt's the most interesting one because he's got like the physique. Because he's so tall and he's got so much leg stride length.
Yeah.
I believe that he's a freak.
Because he looks like, people say run
freak.
like a gazelle. He's a guy that actually looks like that.
Yeah.
He's got a long stride.
And he's not super massive. Like, he's solid, but he's not super massive.
You want him to do well too, because he seems like an affable bloke.
Yeah.
Like
And I never heard him walking around going, I'm fucking clean. I'm clean as a whistle. The rest of
Jesus Christ.
He just sort of and it would hurt the sport. I felt like that one was okay too. From what I've heard, actually the one about Jake Paul is supposedly the best one. But I haven't sort of got around to watching that one yet. So I might check that one out. Because, I don't know much about him. He seems like a bit of a dill, but also, again, there's an interesting thing about him coming from that influencers thing and then actually becoming a boxer who some people are saying is actually better than people are making out. He's actually a better boxer than people think.
Yeah.
Even though he's fighting bums, he is. He's fighting guys that aren't...
Well, he's not fighting bums. He's fighting
cage fighters that are done.
But he's fighting people that aren't necessarily
And he did
boxing,
fight
and he's fighting
Floyd Mayweather. But fuck. I mean, Mayweather could have whipped his ass any day of the week, couldn't he?
The thing that needs to happen, he keeps kind of trying to put money up for people like Canelo, and that's what you need to do. That'll be. I don't think he wants to do that.
No, he should not do that.
Did he fight Butterbean, that round bloke?
Butterbean, holy shit!
Didn't he fight him?
No, Butterbean's well and truly gone.
Yeah, the point when I realised this Canelo character, I hadn't seen him fight. The point when I realised he was the real deal was when he fucking towed up Gennady Golovkin, who previously I'd watched exploding people's heads on a routine basis.
I know.
Okay,
that
must be
bloke
good.
took some fucking Golovkin hammer and fucking shook it off.
Remember when they started talking to Golovkin about, when did you know you were good at fighting? He was like, oh, well, I had two brothers who used to fucking run around town and tell adults when I was about 12 or 13, they'd run up and tell an adult, this fella just fucking whistled at your girlfriend. So next thing the bloke would shape up, Golovkin's there going, that was their gas. Their good time was to get me into a blue with an adult when I was 12 or 13.
Fucking hell, alright. Jesus Christ. But no, look, I think that my bloke might be a better boxer than people think.
Yeah.
But he's not
going
going
to test yourself against.
But he's not going to do
boxers.
that because that's not what he does. What he does is he sells fights.
Yeah.
And like someone like Mundine, you have to hand it to him. They're selling tickets to that shit.
Is it any different to what's going on in Australian boxing at the moment?
Yeah.
Like Australian boxers struggle to get a
people through the door
audience until you're at the profile like Tim Tszyu.
Yeah.
But you whip out Paul Gallen versus Barry Hall and you fucking sell millions.
Correct.
So
you can kind of see what what the angle is. So it'd be
Yeah.
interesting to actually see that, Doc.
Until we get Zuckerberg versus Musk, I'm not interested in
That's
boxing.
not happening. Come on. Fucking hell.
Well, they're both training hard.
They're fucking both pulling themselves. Now, come on.
I'll never forgive him for changing it to X. I'll never forgive him.
Oh, man. All right. Well, what have you watched?
What have I watched? I watched a few things. Got into a bit of Ninja Turtles because the kids, obviously the new movie's coming out. So me and the kids settled on the 2003 version of the series.
Is that... Oh, it's a series, not the movie?
No, yeah. So we're whipping our way through a series.
Yep.
Personally, I thought the last one, there was one in 2012, which was actually really cool. Like, it was funny, and that was the one that had all these nods to horror movies. Like, there's episodes that are straight out of Leatherface, and there's actually characters where you're like, that's fucking Drayton Sawyer, and he's got a chainsaw that says Sawyer's family, or and Robert Englund voices a character that turns up in their dreams and has the razor claws and shit like that. So that was cool. But we went back to this one in 2003, which is kind of like still very kid aimed, but it's got a few darker episodes. Like, we jumped straight into an episode where Baxter Stockman, who'd basically been fucking torn apart by the Shredder, like, the Shredder was, every time he failed, he was like taking an eye or cutting an arm off or something like that. He essentially recreated himself, and this episode was kind of like fucking Frankenstein, a little bit of The Fly, where his body starts fucking disintegrating and stuff like that, and they ended up not airing it. So yeah, there's a couple of episodes like that that are a little darker, so I can kind of get into it as well with the kids. But yeah, that's good fun. Looking forward to checking out the new movie.
I might have seen Return of the Ooze.
The second film.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
I remember it being the better of the first two.
Oh, no,
it is not.
It was so bad.
You want to talk
Power
about
Rangers.
You want to talk about excitement levels, though? I recall dialing up one of those $4.95 a minute lines to hear an early cut of Ninja Rap before the movie came out.
Vanilla Ice is the best actor in that thing.
Did you?
I did. I asked my parents first. I said, can I call up to hear this Vanilla Ice song?
It
from
would
the
have
new
cost you
Turtles
fucking
movie?
$400 just to actually get.
And they said,
I
go
think
Ninja, go Ninja, go.
I think in the scheme of things, it would have cost me 10 squid to listen to it.
Oh my God.
Oh, shit.
You should not have mentioned that.
Good old days. Thankfully, we have YouTube now for that sort of shit. But
That's the most embarrassing thing that's been on this fucking podcast, I reckon.
oh, well, yeah, we went back and listened. There's probably a few embarrassing things there.
It's a few moments, but fuck, Karen. Oh, okay, let's move on, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, good stuff. that
Dear,
one.
oh dear.
So, I went back to Dark Knight of the Scarecrow.
Oh, yeah, is that the one with Larry Drake?
Yeah,
Like 70s,
yep.
late 70s? Slasher.
So I went back to it, and this time with the Joe Bob Briggs wraparound, which was cool. And then I found the sequel, which was only just made in the kind of, because Dark Knight of the Scarecrow had kind of got that swell of
So they made one
interest
this year? Or last year?
Last year, I think it came out. Same director, I believe. Shocking. It was really bad. So, yeah, I'd go back to the first one any day, though. For a TV movie, it's fucking good. Yeah. It's got a bit like almost like a Halloween kind of vibe in that there's no gore, but the scares are there. And some really good acting performances in that one. I stumbled into the cinema for Barbie.
Oh, yeah, that's awesome.
Is that as embarrassing as Ninja Rap?
I want to see that.
I've heard
it's actually
really
pretty
good things.
It's actually pretty good. I think it goes on a bit long and gets lost a little bit in the message at the end, but there's portions of it that are fucking awesome, and some of the commentary on the consumerism and the toys and stuff is really, really good. From that point, I went into Argento territory.
Oh.
Now, as someone that likes horror, I have kind of... I don't want to say I've ignored the giallo sort of subgenre, but I haven't exactly dived headfirst into it like I did for Vanilla Ice and people like that. But,
Holy shit.
Cool as ice. What a dude. Like,
that guy was uncool as ice. No, continue, for God's sake.
so I watched Tenebrae.
Tenebrae, okay, yeah. That one's not too bad.
Tenebrae's, it was pretty cool.
Argento's always been style over substance. The plots are fucking ridiculous, and there's nothing new to it.
It was kind of a little bit all over the shop, but it kind of wraps up in a reasonable little sort of twists and turns at the end. It's because obviously there's a bit of a mystery to it, so that part wasn't too bad. The funniest part, if you can watch it with Joe Bob Briggs, he starts ragging on the part where there's this 2.5 minute sequence where they're in a house and these two girls are in the house and the killer's around and whatever, but then the score from Goblins kicks in and we start getting these fucking sweeping shots of the outside of the house and a roof and then to another window and then we fucking go around the house again. Yeah, Briggs wasn't having it. He's like, what the fuck? He's like, we sweep around this thing for 2.5 fucking minutes. Like, what are you doing? He was kind of, basically calling it a little bit overindulgent and that sort of thing.
And I think that has always been Argento's problem.
Yeah, it does go there at times, but it is very stylish, very slick and not so cool. I watched Cannibal Holocaust, which it's one of those ones where obviously you hear about it over and over. You know, it just pops up on horror movie lists and things like that, and obviously it's a very kind of controversial movie, but I never really felt the urge to watch it. It just didn't appeal to me.
No.
But yeah, I saw it there. I just thought, oh well, fuck, I'll have a look. That is a scummy bit of work.
Yeah.
It's fucking exploitation in every angle.
Yeah.
There are certain aspects to it that I understand why it's got something of a legacy, like the whole sort of found footage aspect of it very, very early on, and some reasonable sort of artistic touches in the direction in parts. But I mean, fuck, I don't need to see animals being killed for real. And I mean, the bit where they get the turtle and they fucking get a machete and cut its head off, I was just like, nah.
What the fuck are we doing?
Why
are we putting that on?
And yeah, I read some of that about how it was possibly a marketing thing for particular markets and that it did work to some extent. But yeah, I mean, fuck, some of it is just so scummy. It's not the type. I prefer to watch something with a thrilling kind of story and exciting sequences rather than just, oh, we're going to shock you by just putting the fucking scummiest thing we can put on the screen.
Yeah.
It's like, that's where I felt it kind of landed in the end. And that was me.
That's everything.
Yep.
All right, let's take a break. Here's the trailer for 1981's An American Werewolf in London.
For the first 23 years of David Kessler's life, he was only human. Then one night he took a walk on the moors.
Beware the moonlets.
Is David behaving strangely?
Are you all right now?
Well, I'll let you know the next full moon.
Tomorrow night's the full moon. You're gonna change.
From the director of Animal House, a different kind of animal. An American Werewolf in London. Rated R.
An American Werewolf in London from 1981. Written and directed by John Landis, who made Animal House, and produced by George Folsey Jr., who produced The Three Amigos. It stars David Norton as David Kessler, Griffin Dunne as Jack Goodman, and Jenny Agutter as Alex Price. The budget was $10 million. The box office was $30 million. And this is John Landis's personal favourite film of his own. All right, Matty, kick us off, mate.
Look, I enjoyed this one. It's got good aspects of horror, good aspects of comedy, some confusing decisions in the script, and I guess with some of the interactions between the characters. The main guy looks like he's about 35. But,
I wasn't sure on that. I wasn't sure what the actual fucking...
But he does a good job of acting like he's 18.
He's definitely aged out of the Kentucky tour range.
I mean, if he is right on the race at the edge of the end of it.
Yeah, he's ready to compete for a sprinting championship. But all in all, like, it's good enough. Kept me engaged. It gave me some laughs, and I left feeling pretty good about it. I gave it 3.5.
Yeah. Snake Eyes. It's back. Finally back to Snake Eyes. Jared.
Snake Eyes for me too.
Snake Eyes for you.
3.5 for me. I feel like story starts really, really well. I think the atmosphere that they get together and the way that they craft it happens really quickly, but it's really engaging. From that point, there's parts that I really like, but there's also elements where I think the story's really thin. Like what's actually happening with the characters is reasonably thin, but we're stretching some of the moments out. Obviously, the effects in that particular scene are fucking phenomenal. All round, really. The wolf looks really good, and that famous scene is still top of the pile for a reason. And yeah, as you said, the mix of horror and comedy is generally pretty good. There's a couple of points where I feel that it actually hurts the horror part of it, but overall, yeah, 3.5 for me for sure.
Look, I went 4, and was close to saying 4.5. Like I had not seen this in 25 years, and the only thing I ever remembered about it was the transformation.
Yep.
So I vaguely remember them being on the moors and stuff like that. So when I started it up, I was kind of like, I'll probably have to sort of fight my way through this one. But like you, it comes off it starts at a fucking really, really, the atmosphere's outstanding.
Yeah.
It's really creepy. That shit up on the moors and the slaughtered lamb and all that.
They shoot it so well when they're in those horror scenes at the beginning there, because it's like it's 360 degrees. You don't know.
Yeah.
Even just the first scene, they get off the truck and then it's 360. You don't know if it's going to come from behind.
Yeah. I really liked the way that happened. Yes, I agree with you that there's character-wise. Yeah, look, there's not much there. Right? There really isn't. Because there's not much real arc to anything, but she runs at a pretty fast clip.
Yeah.
And it basically just intersperses moments of humour with fucking violence that's pretty full on. And then tosses in some really nice camera work and stuff. The shot on the one that really sticks out for me is on the subway. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I'd forgotten.
On the escalator.
Looking down from the escalator, and you see the wolf come out just very briefly. It looks fucking awesome. Like it just looks so awesome. And like you, the FX they won't be topped.
No,
like they can't be, because the computer stuff looks so stupid. You know how they kind of in these ones now they just morph suddenly into a fucking wolf.
Well, it's one of those situations where the limitations actually make it even better because it's slow.
Yes.
And it takes some time. Whereas now, you would just have something fucking bursting, out of its skin. Like it happens
the fingers coming through the fingers.
Yeah.
So cool.
His hand going.
Yeah.
And just turning into this massive.
And he doesn't know what's going on as well.
Effects, it's great. Bang, just like that. Like every time I've seen it.
So yeah, I really enjoyed it. Some good atmosphere, tension. I actually found it quite scary at times.
Yeah.
Because I think they build some of that. So straight out of the gate, the practical effects, like, they're fucking incredible.
Yeah.
Yep.
They're 40 years old.
Yeah.
And that transformation is fucking unbelievable.
Even after the first death, Jack's...
Yeah, his face. Even though you can see they built it up, it just looks awesome, though, because
it looks really
you can
good.
see all the muscles and sinew and
dangle.
shit.
You got a bit of dangling skin.
His throat's ripped out.
Yes.
And supposedly there's a cut sequence where he eats a bit of toast and you see it go down
drops
there.
down.
But yeah, the hair on his body looks fucking realer than my actual hair. Like, I'm looking at my arms going, yeah, that looks...
And just where they show the side shot of his fucking mouth going...
Yeah, the extending,
coming
like
forward.
the jaw and everything,
And all the bladders and stuff, like everything's moving and it's just incredible. And the fact that they could actually show him on his back in full, they show him laying on his back. Clearly, I think he's in the floor.
Yeah.
But it looks pretty seamless the way it's done.
Yeah. But even then, like, you know, as you said, the other effects, like the effects for his mate, the effects in the dream with those fucking wolf soldier looking things.
That shit was weird.
The Germans.
But even then, I thought that shit's unsettling. Like, I keep bringing this out.
Funnily enough, being a collector, that's one of the few action figures I've seen in the movie is one of those fucking guys. Really, in the scheme of things, I don't really want that one.
In his dream sequence when he wakes up in the middle of the forest,
He looks up at her and goes,
He's got the demon eyes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Cool.
Really cool effects all the way through.
I love the bit when the guy steps in that fucking woman's arm. Shit, he looks down, there's a fucking arm on the ground.
Yeah.
So, as far as the special effect, I'll tell you the bit that I feel works better than I expected is that they usually shoot the monster initially, the wolf, in like quick cuts and you can hear the screaming of it, but you don't see it real well. Like they sort of, it's in darkness or whatever.
Yeah.
But then when it comes out in Piccadilly Circus, it's in front, like it's fully put in front of everything.
Yeah.
And it looks fucking awesome.
Yep.
The
Like, they've
finished
got it-
product of the wolf was
It's
not
just-
my favourite thing. But I could see how you would like it.
I just love the fact that it's running around the street.
Yeah.
And they're showing it from the top half, so they're not
Yeah.
bothered. They're not showing the back
I
end.
mean, there was a lot of parts where they just cut to a quick bit of the face and
Yeah.
the teeth and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
that's-
And cut it. But part of that was just a bit of restraint early on too.
Yeah.
Like,
And you see blokes trying to get out of its way at Piccadilly Circus while its teeth are going. Yeah, I was like, I thought that was going to look ridiculous. I actually thought this is probably not going to work because it's too.
It could have been way
lit.
worse than it was. Yeah.
But I think it actually turned out alright. And plus, what he does is dish out a bit of carnage too. Fucking cars, people getting run over.
Yeah. That's it.
That's a couple of people in a row.
Someone gets hit by a bus, then run over by a car.
And one guy goes flying out the fucking bus window.
Yeah.
That's straight after the policeman's had his head bitten off.
Doesn't someone also get driven backwards through the fucking window? It's just like, carnage. And that was part. I think it was purposeful that a few of those we were supposed to just like, holy shit, and have a giggle at. Like, yeah.
I actually think, looking at that sequence, the transformation and the stuff in the Thing, are probably the best practical special effects that we'll ever see. I think.
Yeah.
Yep.
Fair.
Because there's so much puppet work. There's so much, there's so much shit that they have to do to actually make it look. And the Thing probably even more so because there's so many different elements to that one.
Yeah.
But I just feel like, that just what you said before, the Savinis and the Rick Bakers and the fucking Rob Botins and that, back in the early 80s, they were fucking magicians. Like, what they were doing was just unbelievable.
Yeah. Well, as you've said, and as we've spoken about a bunch of times, it had to be on... The camera had to be what you were fucking seeing.
Yeah.
So,
You had to work out a way to make it look like it was happening on camera.
Correct.
You couldn't just take it into the studio, the effects shop later and go,
Yeah.
well, we'll just move
Sort
that
it out.
And I think there's been some really cool examples of where they've blended the two. Like every time I watch Slither,
Yeah.
I think,
That's
they've
quite
done
nice.
a really cool job of the practical effects here and then, covering over bits and pieces. But yeah, in terms of like for time, for what you can do with the computer effects, with like, superhero movies, for example, they're always going to use the fucking CGI to get that shit done.
Yeah.
So I think that the heyday of practical is obviously pretty
Over.
well gone. But yeah, I don't know. You always hold out hope that someone will bring it back. It's like a Gorman style.
Yeah.
A bit of stuff like that.
I would agree. I think the balance of the scares in the last is actually pretty good. I actually think they get it right.
Yeah.
For a large portion of
For
it.
the most part, I would agree with that.
There's a couple of
Sure.
moments where it's probably like, no, hang on.
Yeah.
Might be a little bit there. But they never veer too far into comedy.
No.
So I feel like they get
balance
the balance
line
right.
pretty quick, pretty handily.
Because it could have just tipped over into being too funny.
Yeah.
Or trying to be too funny. I did read a piece of trivia. The executive producers, John Peters and Peter Gruber, wanted Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi as the two guys. And I'm like, clearly these two fuckwits knew nothing about film. Because that's not working. Like, the Blues Brothers, that works.
Yeah.
That's not working here.
Like Peter's finally got his
What are you doing?
Peter's finally got his mechanical spider, man.
It's true.
Mechanical spider with Superman. So.
I'm just picturing the da 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 with the Piccadilly Circus.
Yeah, that's right.
Piccadilly, everything's smashing.
Oh god.
I'll say David the David character did a really good job at times. There would be something that would change the mood a little bit, and he wakes up from that German dream and he's just like, holy shit. Or just like the way he'd be, there's one of the dream sequences, he's like curled up against the wall. It's sort of an unnatural reaction, and people react to that. I thought that did a good job of pushing the script along. And
I actually think the performances are pretty good. I think the two, David and
Jack,
I think they do a really good job of actually giving them almost like we feel like they're buddies, even though we really only see them for a handful of scenes together.
I thought Jack was great.
The opening salvo is quite well handled about how they get them. We get that these guys are buddies. They've been buddies for years.
Yeah, their banter is at a point. They're just talking about chicks and every single opportunity.
I must admit, I couldn't stop laughing when they fucking decide to engage in what's that shit on the wall at the slaughtered lamb. Fucking bloke goes. Goes quiet.
Yeah, I think the good thing with that, like they got a bit of comedy out of those two, but it also provided the opportunity to talk about fucking him becoming a werewolf.
Yeah,
because if it hadn't have been those two, I'm looking around and I'm like, no one would have been. Yeah, he's trying to bounce it off the nurse, and there's a long period of the movie, and it works that she's like, you're a little bit crazy. You know, this isn't happening or whatever.
Yeah, and I think it's sweet.
Yes.
I've got question marks on why would she invite him home when you've just told you that I think I'm a fucking werewolf.
Yeah.
And my dead mate keeps.
There's a Formula One motel down the road that's quite cheap. You can fucking stay there.
If you just go down the corridor at the hospital, there's a psychiatric ward you can fucking hang out in.
But yeah, if it wasn't Jack.
Jesus.
Then none of that's coming out, and none of his panic, and none of that stress, and it's kind of like it serves to be what's going on in his head a little bit about what's going on.
Yeah.
What are your options? Your other options are the police.
Yeah.
Oh,
the doctor is the other guy you could potentially do it with, but he only becomes au fait with it after he's gone back to the slaughtered lamb.
Yeah, and I think it works from the horror aspect, it works from the comedy aspect. Like, you get a bit of both out of that. You get the horror elements because it's kind of horrific seeing this bloke. Well, I wish we had seen him eating a bit of toast.
That would have been fucking piss.
But yeah, and he's talking about some heavy shit. He's saying, kill yourself. Yeah. Like, there was points where I was watching it and my kids wandered into the room and it was fucking, you know, the sequence where there's the group of them telling them, oh, you can fucking shoot yourself. That's the way to get it done quick and clean. Oh, sleeping tablets. So I could quickly just pause that. Hey, what's going on, guys?
And I love the fact that they balance the comedy and horror in that first sequence when he first returns. I think they balance it really nicely, where he sort of says, oh, you know, that bird, she shacked up with this bloke at my funeral, and we get a bit of a laugh, and then he just goes into the whole beware the moon, what you're going to become.
And they do it in that scene too, where the group of them in the fucking the Stag Theatre.
Weirdest porno ever.
Actually, I got a good laugh in the credits because they've named all of the porn actors. Good.
They you know, even when they're talking about that and he's introducing him to all the people that he's killed and stuff like that, there's laughs there.
Yeah.
In the midst of some really fucking heavy shit that they're talking about.
Yeah. They once again tell him to kill himself.
Carnivorous lunar activity.
Yeah. I love the fact that they go, this is, he goes, this is whatever his name is, and his fiancée. And she goes, hello! She's fucking covered in blood and shit.
All over it,
It's just
so pleasant about
And again, coming back to the porno, I love the fact that it cuts up to the screen to show us some dude coming wandering in going, what are you doing in here?
You said you weren't going to do this.
The bloke goes, I said no such thing. And he goes, I wasn't talking to you. I'm talking to her. And she goes, I've never seen that before in my life. And he goes, oh, sorry. He walks off.
That was one of the funniest bits of the movie, to be honest.
I'm like, what are we watching here?
Good stuff.
Yeah, look, I thought the performances were good. I think everybody's, a solid performer. It is lacking a little bit in character arc. Well, and there's a little bit of stuff that come up in my dislikes about how quickly things turn around.
Yeah.
Between him and her, specifically.
Yep. There's a few questions there.
Yeah. It just sort of fucking happens.
I mean, namely, what the fuck are you doing taking him home? But anyway, we'll get to that.
The music, I love the fact that they've picked as many songs as he could get with the word moon in them, and uses Blue Moon repeatedly in 3 different versions. And then you got Moon Dance. You got what's the Creedence Clearwater one? Bad Moon Rising. Yeah, great. They're all really good songs, and it fits. They put them in at the right points.
Yeah.
We get the Blue Moon at the start. We get the Moon Dance during the love making. We get Bad Moon Rising when he's fucking waiting to sort of for the full moon to come.
Yeah.
Like I think they do a really good job there. And it's kind of a humorous touch to the proceedings.
Yep. I think, look, there was 1 or 2 times when it was on the nose, I felt. But overall, I did dig it. Like, especially Bad Moon Rising, like, it just feels like a natural fit, right?
Yeah.
Like, and then Moon Dance, I thought was a good choice. Blue Moon 3 times, maybe pushing it. But yeah, overall, I did like those.
I think he had another one that
they'd
gotten the rights to, but he couldn't use it. Or he didn't use it in the end. I can't remember what song it was, but it might have replaced one of the Blue Moons.
Well, I think as has been mentioned a few times, Werewolf in London.
That's it.
Werewolf in London.
Yeah,
was it written after?
I thought it was.
No, I think it was available at the time, but they didn't.
Warren Zevon wouldn't give him the rights.
Warren wasn't having it. The atmosphere at the countryside, the foggy rolling hills, and there's no one around, and they build everything up to the slaughtered lamb. The whole atmosphere in the slaughtered lamb, the way that nobody wants to talk to them. And I love the fact that she goes, can we get some, soft... I can't remember what he's asking. He's asking for a few different drinks. She's like, we don't have that. We don't have that. And he goes, she has tea? She goes, tea? And he goes, oh, yes. Do you have that? No. But I love the fact that there's this foreboding sense of, they're talking to each other after they've left, and the woman's going, we have to go out there and get them.
Yeah, I fucking loved that. I think my favourite stuff in the movie was the slaughtered lamb stuff. And I dug, as you said, like, as soon as they walk out, there's this conversation where she's saying, you can't let him go. And I'm thinking, is she saying, you want to keep him here so we can kill him?
Yeah.
Or is she... And then they're like, no. And we start to evolve this conversation into, no, we can't have that on our conscience. And the other bloke's like, we've got our secrets. Basically, I can't remember his exact words, but he's essentially saying, we got our secrets and they're going to have a chance. We leave it in God's hands and this shit stays with us. And it's like, it's interesting because you think, what side would you actually be on? Like these people just wander in and you basically, from the get-go, you're trying to fucking tell them, get the fuck out. This is not the place to be. But you're actually kind of doing the right thing in some, it's. I just love the interplay between. Really, there's only 3 of them.
Yeah, the woman behind the bar, the dude, the chess player.
Yeah, and the guy playing darts.
Yeah, he's a cranky man.
Yeah.
And they kind of change. Initially, the guy playing chess is talking, and you think, oh, he's just fucking carrying on. But you get the guy playing darts, and you think, oh, he's the one to look out for. But then he's the one that fucking cracks.
Yeah,
when the doctor comes to town, and the other bloke's telling him, stop fucking talking. I thought those parts were some of my favourite stuff in the whole movie.
I mean, fellas, though, stick to the road.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you doing? You wandered off the road like 2 seconds after.
They went anyway. They didn't know where they were.
That was my biggest...
You know what a road looks like, motherfucker. You don't walk off it.
Even if they tell me, don't go off the road, and I think, those people are seedy. I'm still like, we're in the middle of fucking nowhere. We have to stay on the road. Otherwise, where do we end up?
It was a word
They kind of said, what did they say? They said this, that, I'll stay on the road. Oops.
Yeah.
It's fucking 2 minutes ago, you dildos.
Look down!
They've been going in a straight line and they're like, we don't know the way back.
Bitumen, you penises.
Left foot, right foot, make sure it's on the fucking road.
In quick succession.
Yeah.
What though? I would have fucking gone and slept behind the nearest fucking motel, like behind the pub.
I'm led to believe that if you'd have found the nearest golf course and fucking slept on the green. Is that
up on the green, yeah. I would also potentially have had a snooze in the graveyard.
Well, no, but the thing for me is, and I mean, I'm such a cat. I'd probably, they'd say, stay on the road, and I'd be like, well, they want us on the road. But then I'd go,
if we veer off into the moors,
we're fucked. So I'd be walking like 2 metres off the road. Every time there was a bush, I'd fucking race up, kind of sit behind it for a couple of seconds, and then I'd quickly jump up and kind of leg it to the next one.
I'm telling you right now, it's fucking dark, it's cold, it's foggy. These weirdos in this pub have told me to beware the moon and stay off the moors. Guess what? I'm sleeping behind the pub.
Yeah. Well,
tell you right now.
Exactly right. You just find somewhere around.
Look, maybe the fucking werewolf comes to town and rips people's asses apart, but who knows?
But as Matty said, like, it really works when they're out. It's kind of a less is more approach. Like, all you see behind them is the fog and the dark.
Yeah.
And you're like, that's in every direction.
Yeah.
You get the sense that it's in every direction.
And you get it's lit well enough because of the full moon. That's what I love too. Because normally you'd be thinking to yourself, well, you wouldn't be able to see shit.
Well, you'd be able to see a fucking road. I know that much.
And also, I don't know why you expect the guy that survived to tell you that a escaped lunatic ripped him apart, because fuck, that wolf was huge. You are definitely saying an animal killed my friend. No,
you know what I'm calling immediately? It's fucking Bigfoot. I'm telling you. I saw Bigfoot.
He shapeshifted.
I've watched enough videos on YouTube to know that was Bigfoot.
He teleported across the balls.
I know it was a Yeti, because a Yeti can't do that.
One of the best laughs I got was when the wolf howls, and they're like, "What the fuck is that?" And then it howls again. And then they're in the pub and it howls, and the bald guy ignores it. He goes, "That was nothing. I didn't hear anything."
Fucking hell!
Again. That was gold.
I love the fact too that I tell you, that's the most. I think there's the kind of scariest part of that whole sequence on the moors, because I think that stuff is actually really scary because of the way they shoot the hole. You can't see what's around you.
Yeah.
They're trying to sort of be light and humorous with each other about the fact they're lost, and then you hear the fucking growl from a distance, and then they stop and they hear it in front of them. Yeah, and it's this low kind of.
And he starts saying it's circling us.
Yeah.
That's fucking creepy.
They start speeding up how they're talking.
Yeah.
Plan? What plan?
Yeah.
Like,
and it's really scary the way they do that. And then they hit it with they get you with the jump scare when he goes to pick David up, and then it just comes out of the fucking blue. David's a cat. He fucking runs like, talk about leg. He legs it instantly. He doesn't even look back.
Nope. Gone.
Would have been a better move.
And
he kept going.
I would have kept going. And Jack gets just torn up. Like, it's really visceral moment. The way they shoot it, you just can see it kind of on top of him, and he's screaming, and blood's going everywhere. And then
is that where you take off and say, "Every man for himself"? There's nothing I can do for you now.
You were with someone? Well, I was on my own.
I was walking alone on the roads at night when I heard what sounded like somebody being torn apart.
But it's a really, really solid, like, that opening stuff is just, I reckon that's fucking awesome. And then, probably my favourite bit of humour is the two detectives coming to see the doctor.
Yeah.
And it's just this fucking, it's like Abbott and Costello in action. Like, the bloke goes, "Would you like some tea?" The doctor says, "Would you like some tea?" And the old detective goes, "No thanks." And the young guy who's standing, he's not sitting for whatever reason, he goes, "I wouldn't mind some tea." And the fucking old detective looks at him like, "What?" And he's like, "I won't have any." And he turns around and fucking knocks everything over. And then meanwhile, the doctor's on the phone talking about some guy
passed away.
talking about some bloke he doesn't want to fucking meet with or something. He's on the phone right now. Tell him I'm dead.
It escalates real quick.
But I found that sequence to be Highly amusing. And then there's a sequence later on that's probably jumping ahead, but I just wanted to touch on the two detectives. When they come back to say, well, David's missing. I mean, clearly he wasn't the man involved in these murders, but we will find him nonetheless. And then the old guy leaves and closes the door, and the young guy's still standing there facing everybody, and he goes, we will find him. And he turns around, hoping to walk out the door. It's fucking closed. He stops for a second, like,
That young cop was good. The cop's like, the old fella's like having a rant about, this is what the police report said. Everything you're like out of. The young fella's like, just goes, he looks okay to me. He just gets this awkward look. That was good.
Yeah, that's right. And I also love the orderly, where she comes along and she says to him, the guy in this room, has he been eating? I'm just an orderly. I just pushed this around. Hey, don't talk to me.
He's good. He's in it a couple of times, isn't he? I got a good laugh from Frank Oz as the US.
Yeah, that's right.
He was so funny.
And
calm down. Why do you need to be so wrong? He's just
he
yelling.
looks at him and he goes, I'm from the American consulate. Your family and Jack's family have been contacted and everything's in order. The guy's fucking dead. The guy's been ripped apart and you're here smiling at him. Everything's been taken care of. That was piss funny, yeah. And some of that's what I kind of like. The opening 25 minutes, or whatever it is, at the slaughtered lamb and everything, is creepy and scary and, just dripping with like horror and gothic fucking stuff. And then we're fucking pissing around with all these
city.
strange characters in London,
Yeah. Is he cut or not? The nurse's conversation.
Yeah, that's right. I've looked into it, she says. But, again, how are you saying that a human being did that? Even the cuts on him.
Yeah.
Like, clearly a man didn't do this.
Yeah. They're explaining it away. And I think that's part of it, though. Like, it's such a werewolf as a concept is such a silly thing.
But even if it was just a wolf, a big wolf. I mean, I know the moors in England, you wouldn't find a panther or something like that roaming the streets.
Well, they roam around suburbs of Australia, apparently, Adam, so you could, maybe, possibly. Down to Lithgow or, Penrith.
It's just a large cat.
It's had a few too much whiskers being fed.
The weird dreams, I found that shit unsettling. Even though they're super weird, all of them.
Yeah.
First we've got him running around nude, killing deer. Then we've got him seeing himself in the hospital bed.
Yeah.
Then we've got Nazis fucking burning his house down.
That seems pretty intense.
I know. And then cutting his throat. And then killing her.
Yeah.
Like, all of it.
The double dream.
But I feel like it's kind of this unsettling, keeping you on edge. A little bit like what they do in The Exorcist, where they have that face turning up randomly, and you're like, oh, fuck, what was that?
Yeah.
What
they call it? Captain Howdy or whatever.
Fucking tell you what.
Jesus Christ,
I thought I watched The Exorcist. I think I pooed it. What was that? I remember thinking, that's not meant to be in this.
Yeah. Like, I remember when you see it, you kind of just, you just tighten up for a second. You're like,
Jesus Christ.
I don't want to rewind, but I'm pretty sure I saw something there.
And I like it. And I guess that's what they're trying to pull with the whole idea that the nurse doesn't think he's crazy. She just thinks that he's having bad dreams.
Yeah.
I think he's crazy. I'm definitely going with, you are fucking crazy.
Yep. batshit crazy.
You are Captain Rats, mate.
I'm definitely not taking him home.
Oh no! Less am I sleeping with him. For Christ's sake. Come on, like if I'm taking him home, you get your own room.
Look, I lend you a $5 tops. I shake your hand and say, it was great to meet you. See you later. Best of luck.
Yeah,
Have a nice life.
in this day and age, I call you an Uber.
I call you an Uber, and when you're 5Ks down the road, I cancel the fucking thing.
Yeah, just for shits and giggles. Too. When he first sees Jack,
Yeah.
we talked about
That's
this, but
creepy.
That is creepy.
That's got
Because he kind of comes up out of nowhere, like it. Because we've had all these sequences in the hospital where David's talking about, you know, the incident and everything like that.
Yeah.
Nothing sort of. There's nothing that tells you that Jack's going to reappear.
No.
it's
And
that,
I like the kind of mythology of it all.
it's that scene from Pet Sematary, the dead
Victor.
guy.
Yeah, dead guy, Victor. Yeah. I feel like the mythology that they've got here. I'm assuming it's probably from folklore and stuff like that. It's a bit more in the realm of werewolf, proper werewolf sort of folklore.
Yeah.
But the whole thing that he cannot rest until the wolf is killed.
Yeah. And they play with it though. Like when he mentions silver bullets, and he's like, "Come on!" Like they kind of take what they want, and it does kind of work. Like,
And the whole thing about, do you know what it's like to talk to a corpse? It's boring.
yeah. I also like the way that he kind of he's decomposing. And even the last time, where you think, oh, it's just going to be the jaw, like the jaw just moving up and down is going to look a little bit silly. It fucking doesn't.
Yeah,
It plays well.
Yeah, it plays pretty well there. And that's clearly a puppet, though, I think.
Oh, of
Not
course.
him,
It's
but-
clearly a puppet, but it still looks good enough, and it's in the darkened theatre, and they do it from the side a lot, so you can see the fucking
teeth
in the inside. There's still some skin over the top of it.
Yeah. Nice.
Generally, that all looks really good.
Yeah.
The second time when we see him too is really cool when he takes a piss and then he closes the mirror, the medicine cabinet, and here he is just standing there and he's fucking green.
Yeah.
And he's just rotten.
Yep.
And then they're sitting on the couch together having a chat, and they do a shot specifically of his hands, and they're all kind of ripped up and they're all green and rotting. It's just like, fuck, once again, the effects are awesome.
Yeah.
And the whole idea, once again, he keeps saying to him, you need to kill yourself.
Mm.
And the full moon is tomorrow, and this is going to happen. And I thought, again, I feel like a little bit like one of the dislikes for me is that they kind of they have a couple of goes at it.
Yeah.
And I feel like to get Jack's grotesque sort of visage back again, we kind of explain the same thing.
Yeah.
When we see him the second time, we explain the same thing, that you have to kill yourself.
Yep.
Or
I
you're
kind of
going
like
to
it. It's
hurt
just trying
other
to
people.
talk him into it, right?
But it just builds up the pressure, right? Like the third time, there's all these other people, and they're talking about different ways, and as I said, it's kind of a way to put what's going on in his head out there, and it's like just this developing kind of mental state that he's in, that he's fucking starting to consider, how would I do it, and stuff like that. Like,
that's sort of after he's done it. It's after he's done it as well. He's caused some carnage. He's killed some people.
Yeah.
We're coming back again. Look, I told you this was going to happen.
Yeah.
It's an I told you
And
so.
he actually says that to him. You sure you don't want to tell me you told me so?
Mm.
The next, there's about 10 minutes there where he transforms, and then he just goes on a fucking tear and just rips people to shit, and all of that stuff is just gold. The transformation is incredible. Everything from the fucking his hand going from in front of you see his hand going and stretching out, to his snout coming out, his eyes changing, his hair, his ears, like, because they do everything. They kind of do everything for you.
Yeah.
It's just superb. And then he fucks up those two people behind the apartment.
Yep.
Kills the three hobos in.
Yeah.
His old mate that's fucking swilling his he looks like he's drinking some brandy or whatever. He comes out. I can't remember what he says, but he's like, "What's going on out here?" Or something like that. Mates.
Jesus, mate.
That's not the way I'm handling it.
No, especially with my wife saying something's going on out there, and there's clearly some screaming.
Something's going on out there. I go to the doors and I go click, 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 lock them all up.
If everyone's okay, they'll knock when they turn up.
I'm like the bloke in the slaughtered lamb. I don't hear anything.
Yeah, that was nothing. That was my ass. And you know what I love about that too is they don't overdo the gore either.
Yeah.
You don't actually see you see the aftermath of the death of the two behind the apartment.
Yeah.
You briefly see the wolf attack them, but then you see the aftermath of her arm sort of ripped off. You don't see what happens to the three hobos at all. Like, they don't even show them. You hear the wolf is there, and that's about it. And then old mate in the subway, they use the POV and all that.
Yep. It's a really good effect.
Yeah, and
that's where you get the scares, right? It's not necessarily the gore, even though there is a little bit of that.
Yeah. We see the wolf very briefly come wandering out.
Yeah.
On all fours and stuff. Like, I'm assuming it's probably a guy in a suit. It's hard to tell, but it's because it's from a distance it works really well. Because you only see it briefly, but you can see how big it is.
Yeah.
And it's coming towards him. And I think that stuff just works a treat. You know, it's really, really well done. And once again, it comes back to the horror elements, really full on. Like, it really comes back to it.
Yep.
And then we go back to some comedy. You know, like it's kind of these little sort of ebbs and flows of either, but both.
Him trying to get those balloons. That's awkward.
That is quite awkward now, looking at it, but it is quite funny too, where he turns up to Mum and goes, "A naked American man stole my balloons."
Oh, God.
And then it just cuts to him legging it across and stealing that woman's coat on the way past.
Yeah.
And then he's standing there in line to get on the bus going, interesting weather we've
Yeah.
Good one.
Good.
And he wakes up in the zoo. Like, I kind of liked all that sort of stuff. That he kind of went back to where the species lives.
And that they respected him enough to leave him alone. I thought that was the other
yeah.
thing that was pretty cool about that.
So I thought all that was kind of really cool. And as I said, I think that subway sequence is the one that sticks out the most from watching it again. I actually kind of liked the call to his sister in the phone box. His family.
When he's got the knife
and
out.
they're not, the family's not there, but he's trying to explain that I love you, because clearly he's going to try and do something to himself.
Yeah.
And he puts the knife to his hand, and I actually liked when he tries to get arrested.
Yes.
And I kind of liked a lot of that. Like, I kind of liked the fact that he was trying to take steps because he clearly knows that he did something.
Yeah.
But he doesn't know what he did.
But again, he's clearly going crazy, and the girl's still like, kind of cute. Not quite.
So sorry, you said you woke up at the zoo.
Well,
I want you out of my house by the time I get
a few pints. Anyone can wake up at the zoo.
I mean, I would have said, listen, I went out, I got shit faced, and I woke up at the zoo in the noon. So what? Yeah,
just a reasonable night on the gas, isn't it? Like,
he'll shake it off. He'll be right.
We've all been there. We've all been there.
Yeah.
But I did like that sequence because it kind of showcases that he does understand that he has to do something. And actually take some steps here. We talked about the scene in the porno theatre, which I thought was piss funny, but also I really like the dark humour of all of these people.
It gets really dark.
Yeah.
Like, if you listen to the conversation, it's, as I've said a couple of times, that's almost as heavy as it gets in the whole movie. but it's also surrounded by some funny shit. Like,
So there's something about hanging himself. He might swing there for a while, and he should.
I mean, with the hobos and the old, there was a bit of a fucking Waldorf and Statler vibe to some of that shit that was going on there.
Yeah, I like that. And just the finale. This is the last thing for me, but it's just fucking all happening.
Yeah.
Everything's getting smashed. People are getting their heads bitten off. This thing is running loose. And then we get that piss funny sequence where the doctor turns up to Alex's house and goes, there's been reports of a mad dog running loose. And she goes, David.
I like that he jumps out of the cab. She just goes home. She doesn't follow up at all.
I know.
She goes home to have a sleep.
Yeah, that's right. That's what yeah. He's clearly crazy, and she does not follow up on it.
She just leaves.
What are you doing?
He pops up at her house. That's so funny.
But that's it for me from the likes perspective. Anything else from you two gents?
No, not for me.
Well, I'll remember one later. That's
Dislikes. Alex and David's relationship is built on zero.
Yeah, not
Like,
much.
The fact that it even gets to the end where she says that she loves him.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just like, nobody can fucking possibly believe this.
Well,
you've known this guy for like 2 weeks. He has told you he's a fucking werewolf.
Well, these two
it's
things...
a month. It's got to be a month because it's
Moon cycle.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
you've known him for a month, and he has
been
told
acting
you
like a
repeatedly.
fucking lunatic
I feel like
for a month.
2 weeks would have been more believable. Oh, he's just coming out of this state. There's something traumatic's happened to him.
At 4 weeks,
a month
you're
of this
thinking, something's going on here.
a bit tedious.
You're talking to your girlfriends and going, I don't think this is going to work out.
He's never hungry for dinner because he's eaten a whole person.
He's telling me he's been to the zoo and he's,
I checked the toilet the other day and things were fucking very untidy.
Yeah.
I don't know what he's been eating, but it's not good.
I mean, it looked like the work toilets.
I had the note, Alex is a sicko. But
That's pretty fair.
But this ties into... That was on my list. That there's just not much there between those two.
No,
and it's really unbelievable. And I know you got to accept some. You got to suspend the disbelief in certain areas, but that one's just too far.
Because
she's in the hospital, she's seeing what's going on, yet she thinks she's swooning over him. But then when he gets to the apartment and whatever, she's seeing him acting nuts. But it continues on. But that then goes to my other biggest dislike. It kind of ruins the ending for me. Because it's so unbelievable and it kind of takes away... This is where the horror and the comedy balance really doesn't work for me, is the ending. Everything else, fine, but it means the ending it lacks the tragedy of something like the Wolfman. Like, I can watch the Wolfman now and say... Yeah, there's parts that are hard to connect with because it was fucking 80 years ago, so there's societal changes, the way people are acting and things like that are a little different. But you watch that and you're like, it's fucking tragic. It's really sad at the end. This one, you lack that. Even though he's fucking dead, you're just kind of like, oh, well, that's happened.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's so ridiculous.
There's no emotional resonance, even though she's busted up by the fact that he's dead.
Yeah.
It just doesn't hit.
She is. I'm not. Like, it's just kind of like, I don't know why you are. I never got the sense that you should be.
The film probably could have done with like 20 minutes of extra building of character. And
well, it's
trying
not
to
that
create
far from this feeling really fucking tragic at the end. But the fact that, and we spoke about how there's not, if you broke it down to like the arcs of the character, or you broke the film down to the plot points of he does this, and then this happens, and because of that this happens, and because of that, it's pretty fucking limited in that regard. Yeah. It all centres around what's going on in his head, talking with Jack, but because of that, you just don't get much with her. So it's kind of like the stuff that works, you wouldn't give that up, but it kind of doesn't allow some of the other stuff to happen. And for me, the ending just kind of falls flat a little bit.
It does, yeah, because the idea is that he has she is supposed to be in love with him.
I mean, the carnage is great.
His death.
The carnage is fucking fantastic.
It is.
But after the carnage, I would have been like, oh man, that really sucked and that broke my heart. But it didn't.
Yeah, it didn't. Yeah. It didn't because that relationship's not solid.
No.
It's not earned.
No.
None of it's
Not
earned.
really.
Right? So the idea that he is trying to kill her because he's a wolf, he's in wolf form. But
we could have almost had her trying to come up with some measures to stop him doing damage as the werewolf.
Yeah.
What are we going to do so that it doesn't happen again so we can get together?
Yes.
There was an opportunity there. But
also...
Maybe let her in on more of
They
it.
didn't even go with, like, him... You know, his humanity coming through for a few seconds.
Well, what the fuck
he was
did
just
he
a
do?
goofy motherfucker.
No, but you know what I mean? Like, no, but when he's a wolf...
fall in love with him.
You know what I mean? When he's a wolf and she says, I love you, I was expecting the wolf to kind of...
Heal or something.
Heal, yeah. Or not... Or drop the growl or, you know... But it doesn't even happen at all. He just goes at her straight away. Like, it's like... So you don't even get that kind of measure that he understands that she loves him. Because the idea was he said he loved her and she didn't say it back at the time.
Yeah.
That, to me, the wolf heals for a second because it's him. His humanity is still coming out. Didn't even go there. Because they've undersold the two of them.
Yeah.
Because you can't... Exactly what you're saying. There seems to be absolutely no reason why she would fall for him. Like, nothing.
No.
Apart from the fact that he's American. So the whole idea of like he's foreign, he comes with a different different way about him. But other than that, there's nothing that's that
special
about him or anything he does in the entire time that they're together that would make me think that he wasn't just notch on the bedpost number 8 and that's the end of the deal.
Their flirting is some of the most awkwardness I've ever seen. On the train when he's going, when he's pulling faces to the punks, it's like, what is going on here?
What are you doing?
And she's like laughing at
him. I mean, dude, I am going, we are going to get fucking killed.
That's right. Little switchblade.
Yeah, that's right.
And for something that's not actually that funny. Fucking stop it.
No, mate. We're past that. Let's just move on. But also, as I said, if I knew someone for 2 weeks and then she said, "Listen, I've had 7 lovers," I'm going, I don't care.
Look, I don't need a scouting report.
Exactly.
Lover number 1, he's 5'10". Nothing too special in the cost, but he had a bit of cash. So there's.
Just to give you the rundown, don't care.
I don't want the comparison.
Yeah, exactly. I want to come in with a clean slate and hope that you might give me a chance.
Yeah, I was hoping you hadn't had many because I'm a dud in the sack, so fuck.
So that's where my head drops and I go, so I won't be number 8 then.
So when's number 9 due? I'm not going to be
clearly I'm in and out. I'm in and out. I've got a 10-day contract.
I'm fucking in and out like a fiddler's elbow here.
I've got a 10-day contract. I will not be picked. It will not be picked back up. I can assure you.
Oh,
but
man.
The bottom line is he is fucking raving like an idiot. Like what would make you take someone home who has clearly told you that they saw their fucking friend who was ripped to shreds on the moors? You spoke to them.
Yeah.
And that you're a werewolf.
That's crazy, isn't it? Initially, I thought it was building up to, everyone else is just kind of in and out of the room, just doing the job. She's the only one that's getting to know him, and she's kind of getting a sense of who he is, whatever. But even that doesn't really work. They don't show you that.
She's sitting there. There's a part where he wakes up and she's sitting there because he needs someone with him, and she's like, do you want me to read to you?
Yeah.
It's just the most.
Sing to me. You sing to me. She's the other thing is she seems to be the only one that knows that he's seeing his dead mate, so she's the fucking least likely to take him anywhere.
Oh yeah.
Surely.
She's sitting around with her girlfriends going, you should see this fucking weirdo that we've got at the hospital.
She's the one saying to the doctor, I think he needs an extended stay down that part of the hospital. As you said, down the hall.
Shackle him to his bed.
Charming guy.
Yeah, I know, but that's it. There's no charm. At no point is any of their interactions charming or kind of flirtatious? Like, even that bullshit where she feeds him.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like, it's
Yeah.
fucking lunacy.
Yeah, it doesn't play. It doesn't work for me.
He wakes up from a dream and just gives her a big pat.
Yeah, exactly.
something.
What you got is nurse
Turn around
Ratchet
it.
fucking pouring piss, like your own piss on you out
Yeah.
of the bedpan. And,
Would have been, that's where another chance for comedy was. It could have been the orderly again. I was like, hey, what are you doing?
I just push things around. I don't make out with people. I actually felt that the only time the effects don't really stand up is the Nazi guys. I think the faces are kind of rubbery.
Yeah, because the faces don't really,
they don't really move
all
much.
that much. But I think they look really
They look cool,
There's
but
the
they're
one in
kind of
particular
rubbery.
that looks pretty cool.
The one that cuts his throat. He's
Yeah.
got like the fangs and shit. And
Yeah.
he's drooling and that. Yeah, that
But
kind
again,
of okay.
what the fuck's going on there?
It's a bit of a why. Yeah.
I felt I was back into the mental state that I was for 3 hours during Midsummer. Like, what's going on?
What the fuck's happening? Because I understand why he's having the dreams of being a wolf.
Yeah.
But I don't
Even
understand
in the
why
middle
the
of the
Nazis are fucking...
Is this some of the commentary that I'm just not getting?
His family? What? And then stabbing the nurse to death? Quite fucking heinously, mind you.
Yes.
There, that one comes out of nowhere.
That one just felt like a cheap bit of extra gore, though.
Yeah, maybe.
Because you kind of knew it was a dream, and then when it happens again, you're like, what the... Oh, yeah, fuck, you got me again there. Like,
Yeah, agreed.
cheat. You cheated.
You like all that stuff at the Slaughtered Lamb,
Mm.
which I think is also excellent.
Yeah.
But I also feel like the doctor's investigation
It's awful.
but it feels like unnecessary.
Yeah.
Like to what end?
Yeah, yeah. It doesn't
To
really
what
go
end?
anywhere.
Nothing.
Well,
He jumps to the conclusion that they're hiding something. That's it.
Whereas to me, the best way to finish is that the doctor shoots David.
yeah. I mean, you jump to the conclusion that they're hiding someone the fucking second you walk in the door.
Well, as soon as I see the fucking sign saying the Slaughtered Lamb with a fucking...
But when everyone walks in and the fucking... When you walk in and the music stops and everyone turns and looks at you, I think, I've just stumbled into a fucking drug front or something. You know? I'm going to go to the pub down the road. I'm going to stick to the road on the way.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the Slaughtered Lamb... I mean, who's drinking at the Slaughtered Lamb?
Yeah,
Why
exactly.
are they out? When the werewolf is out the loose!
But you get the sense that they should know who the werewolf is and they should be... I don't know.
They should have clocked him earlier. Yeah.
I think, in part, like, not really uncovering exactly what they know, other than they know werewolves exist, really, it sort of works. But as you said, it means the doctor goes there and... I mean, I love that scene, like the
it's
back
great,
and forth. But in the scheme of things, and this is kind of comes back to what I said about the kind of story and the plot elements, there's some that just don't really... It's not very drawn out, and it's not a big part of the movie, really.
No.
Yeah. You could throw a crazy Steve down the streets.
Yeah, give me a crazy
seeing dead
Ralph.
bodies. Is he going to be feeding tonight?
Yeah.
They just need to make a comment about, is he going to be feeding tonight? Like, they know it's not a regular occurrence, so it's not as much of a risk.
Yes.
Just
Yeah.
something little like that.
Yeah. And look, there was more to... And I could have seen the whole story even taking place in that small
Yeah.
town.
Yeah.
You know?
But the funny part is, I kind of wanted some of that towards the end. But the funny part is, the woman that is serving them, and he's the one that immediately when they walk out, it's like, you can't let them go. It's like, well, you're the one that told them you didn't fucking have
Told them
anything,
to
and to
fuck
get out. Basically, oh, we don't have that. We don't.
You were rude.
No, we don't have
Yours,
that.
the service was fucking 2-star at best.
I'm going straight on the Yelp and giving this shit half a star
Yeah, exactly. Well, if you Google
purely for the
slaughtered,
shelter over my head in shit weather.
if you Google the Slaughtered Lamb, it's like 1.5 out of 5.
Yeah.
The fucking Google reviews are rough. But yeah, she sort of goes, you can't let them out there, yet you went out of your way to be an asshole.
Yeah, exactly.
And put us on our way.
Correct.
And look at us. We're both morons. You know we are on the moors within a K.
But
Outside.
why doesn't one of the two of them, again, silly little question, but the doctor goes in there and they say, we don't have any of this, so he looks at a tap and goes, Guinness is fine. Those two idiots could have said that, couldn't they? Just give us a fucking Guinness. Yeah. What do you have? That's the question.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not going tea, gin and tonic. I'm just going, what do you got?
Warm water.
After I get told twice,
lemon in it?
don't have that. What do you got?
Give us.
I'll have one of those.
But also, let's get shit-faced at the slaughtered lamb and then fucking
wander out
and just lay down somewhere.
Yeah,
you were drunk.
I did like that. The whole idea of feeling uncomfortable in a place, and then your fucking silly mate goes, "What's that on the wall?" Yeah, we definitely have to leave now. That part of it.
Yeah, I like that.
Really
Yeah,
works.
I like that.
But yeah, the woman. I mean, your conscience can't be that fucking worried about it because you're the one that's fucking sending them on their way. You must have known it was a full moon.
Well, you clearly didn't want them there.
Yeah.
So why are you fucking whinging
Someone
about it
wanders
later?
in, you look at your watch and you're like, oh, fuck, it's sundown, it's a full moon. We better offer them at least something,
Here's a room, go upstairs and go to sleep.
Yeah, exactly.
You guys look tired, go to sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah. If
We've got a back room here. You can bed down there.
Yeah, I'll bring you something to eat.
And don't go outside. Just,
Whatever you do not leave the confines of your of this
let
place.
Rick Mail play some chess.
Rick Mail. Oh, shit. It was good to see Rick Mail in there. Oh, for God's sake.
Performance of his life.
Exactly. And the last one for me was him offering the kid £2 for the balloons while he's in the nude. That has a slightly creepy vibe in this day and age.
just a touch. Just a touch.
Couldn't get away with it, yeah.
And also, where's he hiding that £2? In his bum or what?
Exactly.
He did not
Where did that come from?
He did not seem to have a pouch or a wallet or anything.
Should roll a couple of pounds in your foreskin. I don't know.
You've also just been out eating, people. So even if you did have your wallet, you probably dropped it.
That's pretty fucking stupid. That is pretty stupid.
I don't think that was going anywhere.
Yeah.
Okay, what else? Have you guys got anything else?
Not enough vanilla ice.
Well, funnily enough, I felt outside the needle drops, the music aside from that wasn't great. It was just fairly standard.
Yeah.
And I mean, it probably suffers from the fact that it was in an era where all of these horror movies had these really memorable
Scores
and themes. This one doesn't really have it.
No.
But it's not a big problem because, as you said, it picks some pretty classic tunes to go with.
Yeah.
But my other biggest one, and we've kind of spoken about it and kind of danced around it, but the fact that his mate coming back and, appearing to him, it kind of papers over the fact that he's not really shaken up by the fact that his mate has been gruesomely murdered at all.
Mm.
He's still on his he's still in the Kentucky mindset. He's trying to latch on with
Laid.
doesn't care.
After his buddy, he watched his buddy get torn to shreds by something.
You're fit, you're going home. That holiday is done.
Yeah.
There's not a moment where he's like,
Yeah, where can I reconnect with the Kentucky? I missed a couple of weeks because I've been in hospital.
where are they now? They're in Greece.
And Mykonos.
Damn it, Mykonos. What about Jack? Oh, his body's been sent home. He fucking don't worry about it.
There you go.
He's
He's
trying
just
to-
got the sequel planned out. American Werewolf in Mykonos.
There's that scene where she's buying groceries and he's sizing up her bank account. He's like, these are expensive, and she's like, yeah, it's very hard to pay for stuff in London with on a single
And
wage.
he goes, how do you live? And she goes, very carefully. And I'm thinking, what is this scene about?
Not carefully enough, because that bloke wouldn't be on your shoulder if you were fucking careful.
No, you know what? Women being, hooking up with weirdos and shit was going on in 1981. So right now, she would have been smart enough to know I am not taking this guy home.
Yep.
I may think he's attractive,
Pretty sure of that. Like, it's yeah.
and I may put him as number 8 on the list, but I am not. He is not staying in my house.
Yeah.
No.
I love that he just turns up to the house and they haven't even discussed it. He's like, there's one bed.
Yeah.
It's so seedy.
Yeah, exactly. What I'd love to see is an outtake after the sex scene. She gets up and all the silverware's been stolen. He's left.
He'd be more likely to be wearing a colander on his head.
Her grandmother's lovely candlesticks are also.
And then he sheepishly comes back after he wakes up at the noon, at the zoo. Goes, couldn't help him borrow a robe or something.
You know what?
I've got nowhere else to go. And I sold your candlesticks.
And then I lost my wallet.
I sold your candlesticks for £2, which I stuffed up my ass, luckily, because that's how I was able to catch the subway.
Yeah, how are you getting on the subway, dude? Like, how are you getting on the subway? You have no money. But also, you know what? He seems to shake off the fact that he woke up in the fucking zoo in the nude pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But then again, I looked at it and I said, he's on a Kentucky tour.
Exactly. As you said, he's checking the schedule, thinking, how can I get to Mykonos before they leave? Oh shit!
Yeah, look, I've been fucking cooped up for far too long. I need to get down to Mykonos because that's where the tour is now ending up.
Yeah.
Oh, holy shit!
I can commiserate for my dead mate whilst I'm travelling to Mykonos.
What's that? This is the fucking toga party.
By the time I get there, I'll be ready to cut loose.
I know for a fact it wasn't Mykonos when I went. It was Corfu. We had a fucking toga party at Corfu. And I tell you what, mate, if I'd been woken up in the zoo, I would have been desperate to get back on the fucking zoo.
Yeah. Well, you'd have had you'd have been disappointed you lost your belt because you would have had a sack of beers tied to it that you'd be missing.
That was actually in London, for Christ's sake.
Why did they go there and shoot a scene? Stood up on the floor.
down to the church.
Jesus Christ.
Honestly, no, that is one of the. There was a lot wrong. There was a lot going on there. That was the sack of beers. You get a sack of beers full of fucking ice, and then you tie it to your belt. You wandered around.
Stop there. I don't need to go. I prefer to drink my beer out of a glass, or at the very least a can out of it.
No, but the beers were in cans. They were just in a sack.
You had a loot bag. I love it.
There was sawdust on the floor, so if you chundered, they just.
So why exactly did you need your hands free at this particular establishment, Adam? So you can do the Macarena. Unencumbered.
Yeah, there was that, but they also decided the strippers were on and everyone got excited and it was a fucking bloke. So, yeah, look, the church is an interesting place.
That's interesting. Interesting might not be the word, but
well, I didn't turn into a werewolf that night.
Well, I think you might have. You could have turned into anything.
Oh, God. Okay, yeah. But that was the tour was over by then. You know what? I shouldn't have been in the place.
You're off the tour. You can choose your establishment, and that's what you chose. Well, I've been on a Kentucky tour for 6 weeks, so why raise my standards now?
Yeah, exactly. Well, basically, that was probably it. Plus, I had no money.
Yeah, of course.
My funds were at all time.
I've got just enough for a sack of beers.
Funds alone, beer's cheaper by the sack.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, at that point, I've lost my pants, but I've still got my belt. So I've got something to
hook me up. Hook me up with a sack of beers. And what? It was fucking VB.
I can attach the sack to a pole and use it for all my lifelong possessions at the end of the night.
Yeah, exactly.
If I came to London to get away from VB.
If I wanted to be a hobo and you gave me a fucking stick, I at least had the sack.
You had the sack ready to go.
Yeah, again, look, this sounds even worse now that I realise, yes, I was not on the trip.
This movie is just like kind of like the reminiscing about your trip in London. That you turned into a fucking werewolf.
Yeah, I do.
And woke up nude in the zoo.
Yeah, it's like a fucking doco. Without all the gruesome murder, but the rest was, pretty similar. Have you guys got anything else? Are we going to continue to talk about my fucking drinking habits? Because, this could get ugly if we continue with it. It's already not good.
For a bloke that doesn't indulge much anymore, it's always fun to remind you of the time that you had a sack of beer tied around your fucking waist. You idiot. Sorry.
I had a few rough moments. That continue to them. And I was a bit older, so you'd think that I was a little bit more mature.
You're the sensible one. You're all picking your place like that.
Yeah, look, let's not worry about that anymore. That's it's beyond me now.
At least your mate's mum.
I might just Google
that. There's lines you'll draw. That's it.
All right, okay. You got nothing else, people?
No.
I need an embarrassing story to come out between the ninja rap.
Well, fuck you, because I tell you what, me carrying fucking a 6-pack of VB in a sack on my fucking belt is not in the same class as you being on the plane.
You would have needed your beers on your belt if Ninja Rap came on, because the dance moves required both hands. So you had to have him on your belt at that point.
Holy shit, mate. I tell you what, it's more,
It's like one hand up now. Then left to right, left to right, up.
Damn, I got it.
And again, if your sack was a bit loose, things could fly, you need to be a bit careful, because that thing was full of fucking ice too.
You don't need any embarrassing stories, because you taking a date to a movie with furious masturbation has lasted for a couple of years now. So.
Yeah. I think you'll find you might be the winner here.
You're still living
because
on
you
that
know what? Neither of our stories involve women who might be interested in us.
Yeah, correct. Our stories both involve the various ways women would look at us and go, no fucking way. I wouldn't vomit on that bloke.
You know what though? Okay, so I bought a sack of beers, but nobody else needs to know about it. Okay.
Look, if you want to sort of explore this further, I'll buy you a sack of champagne and hang it off your belt. We'll take things up.
You know what? This is I would have walked up to the first girl and said, "Beer."
A drink. I have 4.
I'm more a sack of daiquiri kind of girl.
No, thank you. Even though she was in the same place that I was, she still said it was a no-go. Okay, well, fuck yeah.
You were like a leper in a place where there was fucking sawdust on the floor.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep. I think you lose and you win, man.
Yeah, all right. Let's get off that. Let's never bring that up again.
until about a month goes by.
Some idiot remembers the facts of that period. That was An American Werewolf in London. You can find us on Podomatic, iTunes, Spotify, and wherever else you can get your podcasts. Send us an email at thrillme@iinet.net.au. We're on Facebook at Thrill Me Podcast Australia, Instagram at Thrill Me Podcast AU, and Podomatic at thrillme.podomatic.com. Keep an eye on the Facebook page for details of the next movie that we cover. But until then, take it easy, and we'll catch up with everyone later. Cheers. Find the podcast at Podomatic or on iTunes. Don't forget to rate and review. Like us on Facebook at Thrill Me Podcast Australia, or contact us at thrillme, all one word, all lowercase, at iinet.net.au.